How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain, and I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the show. Yes. I want to talk about Joe Biden's speech last night. Let me start with Biden's speech. So Joe Biden addressed the nation last night from the Oval Office, and I want to note again that the audio levels were raised on Joe Biden so that you could hear a lot of the background. You could hear, for example, someone turning pages. The reason is because Joe Biden was speaking quietly. They had to boost the levels on his microphone. So let me do an experiment for you here. So I got my levels here. Now I'm going to raise my levels up like this. I sound really overmodulated, don't I? Now I'm back down to where I should be. I have a slider and I can raise what the microphone picks up. And you hear that shh in the background. That's the microphone picking up the air. You don't hear that here with me because of the quality of the microphone I've got. But I've also got, let me do something for you real quick. Let me do something. I've got a lavalier microphone that I use for my TV hits. I'm going to put this on here. Now, hang on a second. Okay, so I've muted my regular microphone, and right now I'm talking to you on the other microphone that I normally would use for a TV hit. Now, this also is actually a really good microphone, and it's designed to not pick up as much, but you can hear the difference between the two. Okay, now I'm back to my regular microphone. Now, why go through the effort of doing that for you? Because I need to point out to you that what's going on here is Joe Biden is speaking so quiet that they're having to boost levels with the lavalier mic that he's using to address the nation that's clipped on, that you tend to not notice on the suit. It's like what anchors on television wear. They're having to raise it because one of the symptoms in Parkinson's is a quiet voice. I think when he leaves office, we'll find out that, in fact, he has been battling Parkinson's. Now, as for his speech itself, let's dive into his speech, and I want to play you first the ending, and I'll give you my take. It was a fine speech for a president who I don't care for. It was probably the best speech Biden has actually given. It was more uplifting, more rah-rah America. It was far less partisan. Now, if you're a committed partisan, of course, you're going to view everything through the partisan lens. Yes, he praised Kamala Harris, but as I told you guys yesterday, he wasn't going to turn the speech into a rally for Kamala Harris because it's a presidential speech from the Oval Office. There actually are rules about presidents and using the Oval Office and things like that for partisanship purposes. So he mentioned Kamala, but he didn't devote a whole lot of time to her. He never mentions Trump. He does talk about democracy. It was a fine speech. His ending, very rah-rah America. I think the ending of his speech was just fine.
Resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here. Kings and dictators do not rule. The people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. You just have to keep faith. Keep the faith. And remember who we are. We're the United States of America. And there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together. Preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
Look, that's a good ending for a speech. I don't care who you are. That would work with any president of the United States. It was a good rah-rah, America's awesome. A boy with a stutter from Scranton can get to the Oval Office behind the resolute desk that other presidents have said. It was perfectly fine. But notice one of the things I want to point out to you is he talks about America as the idea. This is very intentional. You can't tell me it's not. And the reason is because J.D. Vance caused quite a stir in his speech at the RNC that people say America is an ideal, and actually America is a land. It's blood and soil. It's what we die for. I think that you have to combine both visions, and unfortunately what we're getting is a great division between is America an idea and an ideal, or is America just blood and soil? And I think J.D. Vance is wrong to pour everything into the basket of its blood and soil and saying people die for their land, because people die for ideas. People die for ideals. People die for stories. People go to war for the ideal. I think Vance is wrong that he was going off to fight for blood and soil. I mean, maybe himself he was. I'm not going to doubt his own story, but a lot of people, they went because they believe in this idea of America. At the same time, I think Joe Biden puts all of his baskets in the ideal of America, which there is a lot of truth to, except there is blood and soil as well. I am an American. I have a physical location where I live. And I think that both parties, by dividing up one blood and soil and one idea, is totally missing the boat, that America is both. We are an idea and an ideal. America is an idea that any person on the planet Earth can embrace and come to. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Any person can come here to this great meritocracy, and a poor person can become a wealthy person. An immigrant from abroad can come here. An immigrant from Jamaica can come here and marry an immigrant from India, and their daughter can become vice president of the United States. But when you get to that position, you're not just fighting for the idea of America. You are fighting for blood and soil. You're fighting for land. You're fighting for a people. Now, people come here and they amalgamate. They merge in the melting pot. It's one of the things I despise about the left and their idea that we're a salad bowl. We're not a salad bowl. You know the two ideas, and the left's idea is we're a salad bowl. That the lettuce stays the lettuce, the dressing stays the dressing, the tomato stays the tomato. In other words, the Hispanic stays Hispanic, the black stays black, the white stays white, the Asian stays Asian. No, that's absolutely not the truth. We blend. The taco becomes as American as the hamburger, becomes as American as a pot of gumbo, becomes as American as a bowl of chowder. We're a melting pot. We're an idea, and we're also blood and soil. It's a fine speech. Look, the problem here is that the media, after the speech was over, insisted on putting on a bunch of Democrats to have orgasms over Joe Biden's speech. They would never do that. If it was Donald Trump, if it was George Bush, if it was Ronald Reagan, they would have Democrats and Republicans on immediately together afterwards. Instead, they had all the gang. And you've got David Axelrod, who I know and like, saying, this is incredible, Joe Biden giving up power. He's not giving up power. He's just not running for re-election. You guys threw him under the bus. That's what's happening here. He's not running for re-election, but he's not walking away from power and giving it to Kamala Harris.
A cause of American democracy itself. We must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
The best way to unite our nation. Notice he started with, I'm doing it for my party. Put party before country because your party's kicking you out. I mean, essentially what Joe Biden's speech and what the media wants to be, it's such a good speech. Look, it was a good speech. As a presidential speech from the Oval Office, it was a good speech. It was not an explicitly partisan speech, though I realize if you're a super partisan, you hear everything through a partisan lens, and you can't acknowledge at this point that a Democratic president can be your president or a Republican president can be your president. It was a fine presidential speech, but it was also premised on a lie. And the lie was that I've done so much, I can't run for president again. I've done so much good. Really? Joe Biden is not running for president again because Joe Biden's party turned against him, because the party tried to cover up the fact that there was something wrong with Joe Biden that is now visible for the world to see. But that's a layer of multiple layers, and one of the other layers is that Joe Biden was already losing because of his economy, because of crime, because of global inflation, because of the military calamity around the world. Joe Biden was leaving because Americans didn't feel like they were benefiting from his policies, even as he lectured them regularly that Bidenomics, as he called it, was a good thing. Joe Biden's leaving not because he was a good president, but because he was a failed president. And the media that is now deleting things so that you can't see what they used to say about Kamala Harris and correcting things that they used to say about Kamala Harris for Kamala Harris, they were done covering for him. And in the last month, Democrats have finally felt what it's like to be a Republican when the media comes for you. And they didn't like it, but the media covered for him the whole time. And as he goes out the door, the media will say all sorts of glowing things about Joe Biden because Joe Biden got out of the way for another Democrat because they knew he couldn't win. That's the only reason we're getting this glowing love fest from people on television about Joe Biden who are lying to this day about his record, saying he did all this good. Joe Biden broke the economy. He caused inflation for the first time in a generation. Joe Biden did all of these bad things to the American economy and destabilized the globe while blaming Donald Trump for it. And the Democrats are patting him on the back and saying, way to go, Joe, as they shoved him out the window. And you know and I know damn well that if Kamala Harris loses in November, the same Democrats who are tonight comparing him to George Washington will be treating him like Benedict Arnold. If you don't realize that that is the truth, you have not been paying attention. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. I can't take your phone calls today. I will explain why later this hour. The call screeners, all of them are doing other things, as I will be here soon. But in any event, if you text the word Eric to 33777, you can subscribe, get the show notes, all those things. By the way, I'm going live in Las Vegas, and I'm not going to be here tomorrow because I'll be doing the Carathon for WSB Radio in Atlanta, and then I'm headed out to Las Vegas, where they'll be flipping the switch and putting me on live weekdays. I've been on the weekends, and I'm stunned every time I go out there. There are people who hear me, but they recognize me. Even the dealer at the craps table last time I was in Las Vegas recognized me and had a great conversation with him. But now I'll be live. A lot of people listen out there, so looking forward to being live. In any event, I want to do something. This is something that has always bugged me. In fact, last night I noted this on social media. Someone says, "Oh, Erickson's gone full MAGA now." No. I've been saying this since before Donald Trump was a thing in politics, and it just listen to Joe Biden. This, above all the other stuff in the speech, this caught my attention. This is from Joe Biden last night.
I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose.
And he points aggressively at the camera, from the right to vote to the right to choose. Right to choose. Got his pointing going on with the right to choose. What does that choose? What is that choice? Is it my choice to go to bed at 9 p.m. or midnight? Is it my choice to have a Coke or a Pepsi? Is it my choice to have a excellent, fine, outstanding Miller Lite or some garbage IPA? Is it my choice to have a margarita or bourbon? Is it my choice to go to private school or public school? Is it my choice to go to the Baptist church or the Catholic choice? No. It's none of those choices. Is it my choice in doctor? No. It's my choice. That's not my choice, only a woman's choice on whether or not to murder her child. We're not supposed to say it that way, but that's what's going on here. But it's an embryo, still a human life. You may not like that I say it that way, but it is your choice. And he can't even bring himself to say it. The moral courage of the man who took on Corn Pop, and neither he nor any other Democrat in the United States is willing to say, your right to kill your child, because that's actually what it is. Your right to kill your child. That's what Joe Biden says he's going to spend the next 6 months fighting for. Your right to take the life of another human being that inconveniences you. Listen, whether you're for abortion or not, understand you're for a euphemism when you say the right to choose. The right to choose what? They don't want you to choose public school or private school. They don't want you to choose that. They really don't want you to choose your doctor. The only choice the Democrats have ever wanted to give you is to whether or not you murder your child or not. Whether you have a doctor tear your child limb from limb, crack open its skull, and suck out its brains, because that's the only choice the Democrats want to give you. Not whether your kid can go to private school. God forbid your child go to private school. But if you want to crack open your kid's skull and suck the brains out before the kid comes out of the womb, well, that's your right to choose. Stop hiding behind the euphemism and just be honest. You think it's okay to take a human life. There. I feel better for having said that now. That one just always bothers me. It really does. This whole right to choose. What are you choosing? God forbid you choose to send your kid to private school or homeschool your kid, you freak. No. You want to kill him? Well, let's give you that right. Now, I will move on to Old Glory Bank. My bank. Y'all, I love Old Glory Bank for a whole lot of reasons. And right now, one of the coolest things they're doing is Old Glory Protect. If you're a police officer, a firefighter, a military, a border patrol agent, Old Glory Bank considers you a protector, and they're going to give you for free a $100,000 line of duty death benefit if you're an Old Glory Bank holder with direct deposit and you are one of those first responders. That's it. That's all you got to do. Old Glory Protect is available to all military personnel, including Guard and Reserve, firefighters, including volunteers, police, and U.S. Border Patrol agents. From the beginning, Old Glory Bank has been the bank for first responders. Now, Old Glory Protect, the proof is in the protection. Old Glory Protect, protecting those who protect us. A free $100,000 line of duty death benefit available to Old Glory Bank account holders with direct deposits for firefighters, including volunteer firefighters, military personnel, including Guard and Reserve, police, Border Patrol agents. Go to oldglorybank.com, oldglorybank.com. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And if I didn't mention, they really are my bank, and you'll like them as much as I do. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, am I glad to have you with me. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. If you text ENGAGE to 33777, you can join me in Atlanta, Georgia, August 8th, 9th, and 10th for the gathering at the Grand Hyatt in Buckhead. We've got Ron DeSantis coming. We've got Brian Kemp coming. We've got Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma coming. We've got Doug Ducey of Arizona coming. We've got Pete Ricketts of Nebraska coming. Rick Scott of Florida coming. We've got Kat Kamek of Florida coming. We've got Chip Roy of Texas coming. We got an incredible lineup of people coming. We got some surprises in store for you as well. And to kick it off on Thursday night, we're having a happy hour with Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia. He's going to be hanging out with the crowd. We're going to have some great discussions about the future, recapturing Washington and what it'll look like for conservatives. If you text ENGAGE to 33777, you can get a ticket. If you're a young professional, use the discount code YR and you get a huge discount. Takes the ticket down from over $200 to less than $100. Use the discount code YR. Looking forward to having you there. And thank you to, we have an anonymous donor. He attended last year's gathering, and he wanted to make sure we had young professionals who could participate. And so he said, listen, I'll cover the excess costs. Set up a discount code. And if young professionals come, they'll pay less than $100 and I'll make up the difference. And so he did not want to be named. I'm trying to name him at the event, but thank you to him for making this possible. So text ENGAGE to 33777. Come hang out with us in Atlanta. Wherever you are in the nation, all flights go through Atlanta. Whether you're going to heaven or hell, you got to go through Atlanta. So it's easy to get to. It's a great hotel. August 8th, the evening of August 8th, all day 9th, all day 10th. You go home the 11th. Text ENGAGE to 33777. Get your ticket. If you're a young professional, you'll see a discount code box. Put in YR, just the letters YR, and you'll have a massive discount. I look forward to seeing you there. Now, I got to go back to yesterday. I don't mean to be duplicative. It's just remarkable to see the American press corps go into full-on partisan for Kamala Harris. It was always something that we were in with Joe Biden, but they stepped out of it for like 3 weeks. They stepped out of it with Joe Biden, and suddenly Democrats had to handle the media in the way Republicans always have to handle the media. They didn't like it one bit. They were screaming and crying about the unfairness of it all. It's what Republicans go through all the time. And then, I mean, like that, just the flip of a switch, they're back to rabid partisans. Axios came out and said, it's a lie that Kamala Harris was appointed the border czar. She was never appointed the border czar. And Republicans said, Axios, in 2021, you reported Kamala Harris was named the border czar. So what do? They go back and they've deleted now their story from 2021, or they've amended it with an editorial note. We said at the time she was the border czar, but actually we were wrong back then. Now that this is becoming an issue for the Republicans, we're retracting that, and we're saying we were wrong then and we're right now. But I got to play you this McCormick ad that I played you yesterday. There's a point here, method to my madness. You got to rehear this McCormick ad. You're going to hear it one more time today, too. But this is the Dave McCormick ad, who, by the way, he's going to join us at the gathering. We'll talk to him about his ad while we're there. Dave McCormick's going to be with me. So is Sam Brown, the serviceman who was burned badly in Iraq, who's running for office in Nevada. Sam Brown is going to join us as well on stage at the gathering. Great Senate candidates to highlight. But this is the Dave McCormick ad.
Kamala Harris is inspiring and very capable. The more people get to know her, they're going to be particularly impressed by her ability.
The nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator.
I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes.
What is the solution for voters in the fossil fuel industry?
Giving the workers an ability to transition. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
Raise your hand if you think it should be a civil offense rather than a crime to cross the border without documentation.
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position you agree with?
And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Outdated, it is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street.
Would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
The food pyramid. What would people
Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically?
Yes.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bombers, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
I am opposed to any policy that would deny any human being public health, period.
The more people get to know her, they're going to be particularly impressed by her ability.
We did it, Joe.
Now, in that, you heard Nora O'Donnell question her about a nonpartisan governmental tracker that listed her as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate at that time in 2019. That nonpartisan site has now deleted that. They've deleted it. They didn't just archive it, they deleted it off their website when Republicans pointed it out. That's what they were doing. This is how badly they're memory holding stuff, how badly they're revising history in order to try to help Kamala Harris. They're shameless about it. But wait, there's more. Bill D'Agostino, I think his name is, he's at Newsbusters. Newsbusters has done something marvelous here. Newsbusters You know, they're focusing on the border czar stuff. The media is telling us border czar. So what they've done is they've taken before and after clips, really after and before. The after where they say on CNN, for example, that Kamala Harris was never the border czar. And then the before, where on CNN, they're saying she is the border czar. ABC, she's not the border czar. ABC, she's the border czar. This is marvelously done by the folks at Newsbusters.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
Well done, Newsbusters Media Research Center. That just worth their weight in gold as always. Putting that together. Those are those aren't the pundits. Those aren't the Republicans. Those are the reporters. The reporters who are saying she's the border czar, only to then have other reporters at the same network now, as opposed to 2021, saying she was never the border czar. Reporters, the press is increasingly becoming the enemy here. They covered up for Joe Biden for 3.5 years, and now are saying, we never covered for Joe Biden. Yes, you did. Gaslighting. So that was Alyssa Farah at the end, who I guess I should say she is one of the pundits, but I mean, saying without correction from anyone on CNN back in 2021 that he's the border czar. She was on CNN. She's also on The View. Amanda Carpenter used to be at CNN. She was a conservative who worked for Jim DeMint. She really didn't like Donald Trump. She got on CNN, and she wrote a book about gaslighting and how Donald Trump gaslights, and members of the media heralded the book about gaslighting and how Donald Trump gaslights, and now the press themselves, the press corps, are gaslighting us. Gaslighting comes from an old play about a man who would dim the gas lights in his home, and his wife would think it was getting darker in the home, and he would insist it was not getting darker. It was not getting darker. She was losing her mind, and it was trying to drive her crazy for malicious purposes. It's what the press is doing to us. They're gaslighting us. They're telling us that Kamala Harris is not the border czar that 3 years ago they told us she was. They're telling us now Joe Biden is too incapacitated to run for president again, and only 6 weeks ago they were telling us he was perfectly fine. They continue to cover for the Democrats. They continue to do it, and it's so shameless too, and it's so explicit. And what the issue is, you can say, Erickson, we've known all along. We have known all along. I don't dispute that. But what's so amazing is the flip of the switch so rapidly, so much so they're now having to delete. The members of the press are memory holding, deleting their websites. The press are deleting old articles they wrote. They're adding editorial announcements 3 years in the future that now that it's inconvenient, we have to say we were wrong back then. This is the behavior of a propagandist, not of a press. This is the behavior of a deeply propagandistic entity. It's not a free press. It's a press captured by a people who hate, by a people who despise the other side. And that's the problem. They're lying to us to protect their precious. I want to say something. about my friends at the Dispatch here. This isn't an ad for them, but Jonah Goldberg, who I know and like, and Steve Hayes, just think the world of both of them. And I know that these days, a lot of Trump supporters, they may disagree with them, but I think the Dispatch has done a very good job of playing it very straight and fact-checking and calling BS. And it's great to see them as opposed to what's happening in the press corps right now. And Jonah Goldberg's got a piece about the Dispatch is to provide coverage and commentary that doesn't get pulled by partisan undertow and media groupthink. One reason I know we're doing something right is all the hate mail and scolding I've gotten from people saying we should be doing something very different. Every day someone tells me we should be doing everything we can for Trump or Harris or, until very recently, Biden, and some take it quite personally. And it's remarkable to see so many people who don't like Donald Trump, who are deep critics of Donald Trump, pointing out what the American press corps is doing is so awful and so wrong and so beholden to tribal purposes that discredit the goal of a free and fair press. I am on record saying that the United States needs a free and fair press. Our founders recognized the need for a free and fair press, and for all of this bellyaching among Democrats about the need to save democracy, a free and fair press saves democracy. And the reason our democracy is threatened is not because of Donald Trump, but because that free and fair press is now captive to their fears and hatred of half the country that they don't like, they don't understand, they don't want to understand, and they want to bully and lie to gaslight them into believing something else. Our democracy dies because the American press corps wills it to die by picking a side. It's one reason Hillsdale College is such a great institution, pushing back against the ridiculous notions advanced by the media on behalf of the left, and they do so at an educational level. It's why the media does hit jobs on Hillsdale College. They've got a classical education curriculum now for elementary and secondary schools around the country that's being embraced by public schools, charter schools, by private schools, by homeschooling communities. And of course, you can go to Hillsdale College and they just nurture a real mind with classical education. You can support this cause with a tax-deductible donation at ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com, you find out a lot more about Hillsdale College. You can make a deduction, a donation to Hillsdale College that's tax deductible, and then you help them advance their mission for classical education for the minds of American kids, so they actually learn to think, they learn critical reasoning skills, they learn logic, they get a great and deep education into the wonderfulness of America as an ideal. They get a wonderful education into the concepts of the founders, and you support it at the elementary and secondary level as well. Go support Hillsdale College at ericforhillsdale.com today. This hour of the program is brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. Wherever you are nationwide, First Liberty can help your business grow. If you're buying a building, buying a franchise, or you need a heavy equipment loan, reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com. So I am here with you, and I'm in two places at one time. I'd never like to lie to you guys, and I got to tell you, every program director in America right now, if they hear this, they're not happy with me telling you this. I am here with you for the next hour, but I'm also elsewhere for the next hour, and then I'll be back live with you. I got to go step away for an hour to do something that I think all of you will understand, and it's why I'm not going to be here on Friday as well. The Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta is one of the largest cancer research centers for kids in America. It is the largest research facility for sickle cell anemia. And the next hour, I got to go do that live, and then I'll be back with you guys live. And then on Friday, I'm going to be with them the whole time, and there's a guest host. I don't know who it is. I'm sorry. It's an important thing every year, and if y'all are interested in giving, if you go to WSBradio.com, that's my flagship station, WSBradio.com, you'll see the Carathon button. And over on the right side, scroll down, you'll see it. You can donate. Now, I realize I've got people from all over the country listening right now. And last year, we actually did a whole hour on the Carathon, and a couple radio stations got mad because they felt like I was interfering with their efforts, and I don't want to interfere with their own fundraisers that they do through the year. But the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center in Atlanta actually is one of the top 3 research facilities in the nation for children's cancer. And it's meaningful for me and my family. We've had a number of friends who have gone through there. If you're east of the Mississippi, St. Jude and the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta are the 2 facilities kids tend to find themselves at. Here's why. Federal dollars don't go to children's cancer research for the most part because children don't vote. And so the feds research for adult cancers, not for children's cancer. So the next hour, I'm going to go interview families who have had kids go through CHOA, some of whom have not made it. It is going to be emotionally grueling. And then I'll be back. I'm still going to be here. Don't tune out because I've got something I got to get off my chest with you guys too. And then I'll be back. But you got to stick around this next hour. I want to be honest with y'all that I'm here and there. I'm trying to be in 2 places at one time. It's not sustainable enough for me to do this 2 days in a row, and they need me completely on Friday. I'll be at WOKV in Jacksonville next month, helping them with their Carathon as well. And I'm always happy. Those of you stations, you run me live. I'm happy to help you as well. But if you want to support this, and again, they're one of the top 3 research facilities for childhood cancers in the entire country. If you go to WSPradio.com, you can click on the Carathon page. But I wanted y'all to know, truthfully, what's going on. This is why I don't have a call screener today either. All the call screeners are doing the calling for this. You can also call them if you want, 888-750-2772. One of the things I do every year is I give away my bourbon. I auction off my bourbon. So for $500, you can call 888-750-2772 and say you want to come drink Erickson's bourbon. And I serve you barbecue, and you can walk through my bourbon collection. I used to bring all like 200-300 bottles of bourbon that I have. Now the lawyers make me bring very few, but I still curate a great collection of bourbon to bring and hang out with people. All you do is call 888-750-2772 and say you want to drink my bourbon, and you're more than welcome to do it. But in any event, just full disclosure, I'm going to step away. I'm going to be here with you. You're going to hear me. You're going to think I'm live, but I'm actually going to be interviewing some kids who have cancer, and then I'll be back with you. I just don't like lying to you, but we'll be back because I got a bone to pick with you all about edgelords.